When you log on, you should see a page like this. If you've looked at other areas of the website and want to return to the database, click on the red My Account button in the top right area. To open the database, click on the Pet Sitting Bookings title bar here. Okay, now we're in the database. The first thing you'll need to do is to add a client. When you first start out, there will be nothing on this page like you see now, but once you've added clients, they will appear in a table. Take a look at the menu options for the database, which are on this bar here. So the options you've got are bookings, clients, pets, calendar schedule, financials, invoices. Those are the buttons that you'd most frequently use. Then there's invoice settings, demo video that you're watching now, deleted bookings and help. If you need any help on a particular screen, also look for this little chap who's the helper dog. So we are starting with the client screen, as you need to have added the details of the client to the database before you can add details of a pet. And you need to have added details of the pet before you can add details of the booking. Obviously, for any repeat bookings, you don't need to do this each time, as the details are already in the database and are then available simply to select from a menu. Let's start with adding a new client. You'll see there's a search box for client surname. This is so you can check if they are already on the database before adding them. Even if they are, it's good practice to repeat back to the client what information you have stored to make sure that it's still all current and correct, especially emergency contact details. Assuming the client's not already on the database, you need to click on the Add Client button here. This brings up a form page. This form is for basic contact details, including the contact for the vet used. The Notes field is helpful for any useful information about the client, such as times they work or whether the mobile or home phone number is best, that kind of thing. Here's an example of a completed form. Once you've put all the details in for the client, click on the Submit to Add Pets Detail button here. That saves the client's details and opens up the next section for the information about the pet. You can add multiple pets for any client. Here's an example where I've added one pet for this client. You then have the options down at the bottom of the screen of adding another pet, a booking, another client, or going back to the home page. I'm going to add another pet so that you can see how that comes out on the booking screen. Okay, now we have a pet and a client added, so the next thing to do is to add a booking. Click on the Bookings tab and then on the Add Booking button. This is what the form looks like. Hopefully most of it's self-explanatory, and certainly once you've used it a few times you'll get quicker at filling it out. It's also a multi-purpose form, so you won't need to fill out every field for every booking. Start with selecting the client from the drop-down list. At this stage I only have one client, but once you've added more they will appear on this list. Now that I've selected the client, you will see that the pets I added earlier come up below with a selection button next to each name. That means you have the option of making a booking for just one or any combination of pets for that client. This form is designed for any of the following services: dog walking, home boarding in, feeding, house sitting, pet taxi, cat sitting, doggy daycare, and there's also the option of something other than that too, all of which you select from this drop-down box. The boarded with space here is for businesses that have a number of people working together offering the boarding service, so you probably just put the name of the person in and it might even just be their first name. For the 3 date spaces, if you click on this symbol, you can select from a calendar. You only need to fill out times here as appropriate to the service that you're offering. So I've filled out the first column of information, and now the rest of the data on the right relates to the fees. First you need to put in the standard day rate for the service that's being booked. Then click on the button here and it will automatically calculate the number of days from the dates that you put in over there on the left. Then on the total cost before any discounts is calculated automatically here. If you offer any additional services that are not included in a daily rate, you can add the cost of these here and maybe mention also in the notes box. The discount menu allows you to select any discount percentage, and this is useful if you want to run any promotional offers such as via Facebook or Twitter or some kind of client recommendation or frequent booking scheme. Then the grand total payable by the client after the discount is calculated here. The remaining information relates to deposit, balance and cancellation, and hopefully should be fairly obvious about amounts paid and dates. So now you have the choice of submitting just this booking or adding additional dates for the same client. As a reminder, in all cases where you see a submit button, that saves the information to the database. You can go back and edit it once the information has been saved, but don't forget to submit it or you will lose all that you've already added. First, I'll show you the calendar. Your calendar will allow you to see at a glance your availability for any particular day, week or month, etc. Your bookings are colour-coded each week so that you can easily distinguish them. The bookings contained within the calendar are automatically input from the bookings page after you create a new booking. These bookings cannot be changed from the calendar page. For example, if a client wants to add an extra day to her booking, you will need to click on the booking from the bookings page and then click Edit. Your change will then show on this calendar and the extra day will automatically be added. To add an event or an appointment to this calendar, for example, if you are going to a client's home for an introductory visit and the client's details are not yet on your client's list, you can click on the day of the appointment and add it directly to the calendar. This is also useful when you are on holiday or not available, even if you just have a doctor's appointment and you want to remind yourself at a glance. Printing off your daily, weekly or monthly schedule is easy. Just insert the date range you want to view or print off at the top of this page and click on the Print Schedule button. The Print view opens a new browser tab. You will of course need a printer, and then print as you would normally. To go back to the database, either close the tab with the print format or just click on the Database tab. I'm showing this in Firefox, but it should be much the same in Chrome or Internet Explorer. The Financials section gives you a summary list of your bookings. This page allows you to keep up with your finances. The screen defaults to just showing the last 30 days of transactions. If you want to see more, use the date range and other filter options. For example, if you want to find out how much you have made last month, you just need to put in the date range and click on the filter button. You will see the total sales for that period. If you want to see just the bills that are fully paid or who still owes money to you, you can select here. Unpaid balances show in red and are totaled at the bottom of the table. If you want to look at one particular client's financials, just type their name into the search field and click on the filter button. This will select just the transactions with that client in the date range. You can sort the list by date or client name in ascending or descending order. The Invoices tab shows you a list of invoices. If you haven't done any yet, there'll be nothing to see. So I'll show you the invoice setup first. Setting up the invoice would be a one-off or irregular task. In this invoicing setup section, you can add your company name and contact details as you want them to be displayed on your invoice. Your company details will be saved and can be selected each time. You can also have multiple details and select which to use when creating the invoice. You'll need to add bank details for display on the bottom of the invoice. You can also add an optional company logo, although at this time only one logo can be added. I've already added one address and will now show you adding another. First, click on the Add Business Address menu, then the Add Address button. Fill in your details on this form, then click on the Submit button. You should now see the item you've added here, and you have the option to edit or delete it. Now select the menu item to add bank details. This is the bank account that you want the client to pay the money into. Click on the Add Account button and then fill in the form. The cash space is for you to put your terms, which might be not accepted or in full on collection or something along those lines. Once you've entered your details, click on the Submit button to save them. Finally, the logo image. At the moment, there's only the option to add one logo. Browse to the location on your computer, then click on the image that you want to select, and then click on Open. A JPEG or PNG file will be the best format. Now you should see the file location in the Browse field. Click on Submit and the image will appear above. If you want to change it, repeat the process and this image will be replaced. Now I'll show you how to prepare and send an invoice. Click on the Financials tab, then select the relevant row from the table that appears. If you can't see the booking you are looking for, check the date range. Clicking on a row opens up the full details. Scroll down to the bottom where you'll see three buttons: Edit, Delete, Invoice. Click on the Invoice button. You have four choices in the type of invoice to send here: Invoice, Service Quote, Paid Invoice, Invoice Reminder. The default address that the invoice is from will already be filled from any previous selection, but if you have multiple addresses, you can change it by selecting from the list here. All of the client's details are already filled in and the details of the service provided. You will see you have the option of putting in additional information in these two boxes for additional services here and any notes to client here. You can then select which bank account to be paid to as set up earlier. You will see that the fields then are already filled in. If you'll be emailing the invoice to the client, tick this box and you can optionally amend the details of the title and message in the boxes here. Finally, all the invoices that you have produced are listed on the Invoices page. Again, you have the options of selecting a date range and filtering for a particular client. If you want to check the full details of any invoice, click on the row to open it. You can also use this to create a reminder invoice. We hope these videos have given you a flavour of the database. If you haven't already done so, please do sign up for the 14-day free trial on the website and try the database out for yourself. If you like the database and want to use it, then you can either sign up to use just the database or it's included as a benefit of full membership. The fees are given for these two options on the website.